Welcome back, everybody, to another live stream. So it was almost exactly a year ago, around February, that Laura and I were in Tucson, Arizona, in what's been affectionately been known now as the Before Times. And we did a fun shop visit with a bike shop called Campfire Cycling, which is pretty unique because it's one of the very few bike camping, bike touring, bike packing shops in all of the US that I know of. And we did a really fun video giving a tour, and it literally wasn't, maybe like a month after, maybe 2 or 3 weeks after that, COVID happened, things got really serious. And, Josh, who had invested this money in kind of building the space, had to kind of do some pivots. So we're going to talk with Josh today about what business has been like since COVID, how he's had to adapt, and how he's just dealing with the situation. So we see some people here in the chat. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Definitely let us know where you're watching from. And if there are any local cyclists to Tucson, let us know, let Josh know. He's looking at the comments. And before we jump in, I do want to say thank you to all the people that support the channel, either via Patreon or by buying our fun Party Pace merch or Goofy New Safety Third sticker. It's literally these small things that keep the channel going. So thank you so much. But before I introduce Josh, I thought I would play a clip, just a 1-minute clip from that visit that we did last year. So you guys can get a sense of what the shop is like if you've never been. Hey there, everybody, it's Rush from Path Less Called, and we are in Tucson, Arizona. And behind this glass door is a bike shop that's totally dedicated to bike touring and bike packing, Campfire Cycling. I think you will dig this shop visit, so let's go inside. All right, so we're here with our friend Josh over at Campfire Cycling. This is a pretty amazing showroom. Can you give us a tour of the space?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, let's go through it.
What do you have over here?
So we've got some bikes by Jamis here. This is a Dragon Slayer. So our setups, we basically have 4 different setups representing different styles of bicycle camping. So if you're going on rougher terrain, we have our Jamis Dragon Slayer, and then behind it, the Jamis Portal.
And what do you have over here? You've got a bomb track.
Yep, the bomb.
So that was a video clip. As you guys can see, it's a pretty cool shop. And let's welcome to the show, Josh. Hey there, Josh. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Russ. Yeah, thanks for having me. Back in the shop.
I know. Looks familiar behind you.
Yes.
So interestingly, before Campfire Cycling, you were already an online business. Can you talk about that move to Campfire Cycling and then what happened? Then we'll get into what happened after.
Yeah, so we had gone through this big transition. I mean, we had been in e-commerce for, I think it was 12 years, and things had kind of gotten shaken up a bit for us. And we decided to focus on what was working for us best, which was bicycle touring and bike packing. And we had rebranded to Campfire Cycling, I think at the start of 2019. And then we spent the summer getting the showroom all set up and had this great grand opening. Lael was kind enough to show her movie, I Just Want to Ride, and we had like 200 people packed in here. And yeah, it was a great kickoff. But yeah, the e-commerce had kind of kept us going, but it had faded off. And what was interesting was we were just getting going. We were just getting started with figuring out our marketing, figuring out how to get people in the shop. And of course, that all came to a sudden halt.
Yeah, I think I shot that tour, and then it was probably like 2 or 3 weeks after that, things started to get serious. So yeah. It was very short time to celebrate the rebrand.
Yeah, it was like the day. It was a Friday, I think it was like March 18th was our busiest day. And that was literally the next Monday was the shutdown. It was just like such a strange feeling of we kind of got a taste of like, okay, this is what the shop should feel like, and then
Right.
and then it was over. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it
I
was.
remember we were still in town when things were starting to shut down, and I remember one of the first things that you guys did was you were doing bike delivery, like of a certain radius.
Yep.
Can you talk about how that idea came about?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just noticed, other businesses offering that up, and it was just like, well, this seems pretty simple to do, and I mean, it was just scrambling. So yeah, we just put a seemed like a close enough circle, and yeah, put out the map. And honestly, we didn't end up doing it that much. It wasn't that called for, but we helped a few people out that way. So yeah.
In the early months after the before times, what were the first things to fly out the door?
Yeah, we were doing a lot of, I mean, we've always done a lot with bike bags. So Revelate and Ortlieb and Tubus racks have been our mainstays, and just having those on display and having people in, that's what everyone seemed to turn to, even in the shop. And yeah, we were getting our feet wet with bike sales, and we were seeing the bomb tracks were doing surprisingly well for us. So, so it was, yeah, just pretty much the bike bags, that was what really kind of took off for us at the start.
Yeah.
So.
At what point was it hard to get new product into the store?
Initially there was no problem getting product. It was sort of, in fact, what we were seeing was everyone was pulling back. So we were pulling back on our ordering, and we were hearing also that like QBP canceled a bunch of their orders. So everyone was kind of going the wrong direction, not understanding where things were going. So yeah, it was not a problem to get product. That first month, April was just scrambling, just like, what do we do? Are we out of business? Is this going to work? We actually bought a sewing machine because my mechanic also sews bike bags, and we're thinking, maybe we're not going to be able to get bike bags, and then we'll start sewing our own. We were just sort of like, or maybe we need to pivot into that direction. We put a bunch of products on closeout, just everything that didn't need to be in here, we put on sale, which later regretted because we're like, oh, we could have sold that at full price. So yeah, that was April. May, all of a sudden, May, all of a sudden, things started selling. Our e-commerce business, it came back to life. We didn't do anything. The e-commerce business that we had sort of just, it was still running, but we hadn't really focused on marketing it. All the focus had gone into the showroom. And then all of a sudden the sales just started rolling in. And it was like very, very busy on the e-commerce side. So we're grateful that we had that. It was really kept us going through this. We probably wouldn't be in business without that at this point.
Yeah.
So
I think that's one thing that's really unique about your shop, because prior to the brick and mortar, you were all e-commerce, so you had that infrastructure already, and it seems like that really set you up to still be successful, in the following months.
Yeah, it was critical for us. It was just strange because we didn't really do anything to push it. It was just people were looking online again. So, it was just a matter of.
Do you have any sense of how people would stumble upon the site? Was it, they'd, read one of your product descriptions, or do you have a sense of discovery?
I really actually, the biggest thing was just Google. Google was just, we were on Google, but we did hear a lot of people mentioning that video that you did with us.
Oh, really?
So yeah, a surprising number. I'd say that was probably our biggest hit in terms of being, marketing, in terms of PR type marketing. So that was great. So we really appreciated that. But I think being on Google, just having our historic rankings, and just having a decent catalog once people did find us. We have a decent email list, so just kind of reactivating that. And so just the kind of standard e-commerce marketing channels they just hadn't worked as well in the past, or it was kind of not really functioning. It was sort of, people would still buy, but it was all of a sudden everyone was shopping online and everyone wanted to get outdoors and go biking. So it just made it work again. So yeah.
So what has so you still have you got the e-commerce. How has the walk-in traffic been? Has it been a noticeable decline?
Yeah, so we had never been through a summer with the shop open, so we didn't really know what to expect, and it was really slow. We didn't really get much, and we also we had the whole shop sort of on this weird lockdown. So we had set up this aisle, and well, for a while everything was just outside. We just would meet people out front. And then I set up this aisle and I had fans blowing in every direction and just it was kind of it wasn't a very pleasant shopping experience. And we had just stopped sort of organized. It just kind of, everything had gotten dusty and it was just a mess. But we'd have a few customers each day. And we were so busy with the e-commerce, we just didn't even worry about it too much. But then as we got into, I think people started trickling back in August and September, and also, I mean, I think we felt that as not being, I mean, a lot of bike shops in Tucson were doing very well even during the summer, just because of our bike boom, but we just weren't really that well on the map as a bike shop, having been just established. So I realized that it was hard to get bikes. So if I could get any bikes, that's how I might be able to pull people here in the fall. So I actually have a surprising, I've been able to get a decent number of bikes, and I can kind of show, like, we actually have about 25 or 30 bikes on the floor. So
what do you have back there? Give us a quick tour. We've got
sure.
160 people in the room, so let's
okay.
get a quick tour.
Yeah, so over there I have up in the front corner is a Bridge Club. Here we've got some Bomb Track hooks, the 3 blue bikes. These are some Jamis High Point and Jamis Durango A1. Up in the front here, we've got a Cutthroat up on the rock stand. Behind it, a Straggler, Bomb Track Beyond 1 here. Let's see, this is our disc trucker display here, and pivot around here.
So are disc truckers going away for good, or are they coming back? Like, I've heard mixed reports.
Disc truckers are still here. It's the long haul trucker that's going away. Yeah. So, or is gone. A couple Vias, a Fargo, and over here we've got Bomb Track Beyond 1s. So yeah. So we've got some bikes. Pretty much everything we have is gravel or touring. Like, as soon as we get a mountain bike in, it's out the door in a day or two. But the gravel and touring bikes, they stick around a little bit longer. But so that's what I did in the fall, was I just went out and grabbed as many bikes. There were still some Salsas, there were still some Surleys. It hadn't quite reached the point that there's just nothing available to us to just kind of buy, or that's available from, like, on order, if you haven't had it kind of pre-ordered. So we grabbed a bunch of bikes and then just put the word out that we had those bikes in stock. And I think that drew people in, and just being back in the fall season, the shop has been, fairly busy. We limit it to 4 people at a time, which is pretty much not a problem. That's kind of the max we typically see anyways. So but we've definitely seen the traffic come back to life. So
so is your bike inventory, is that online, or is that for just walk-in sales only?
It is online. We do, if anyone's on our site, under Tucson, there's a bicycles in stock page, and that shows, we keep it updated with all the bikes we have online. And we will ship. We have like a $200 shipping and handling fee. But we do ship bikes. All the bikes, except, actually, we do not sell the Jamis online, but the other 3 brands we are able to ship. So
Here, Ben Anderson, if you get any midnight specials in stock.
Okay. Yeah, the big word is allocated, and we do not have any of those allocated to us. So
cool. So we've got about 175 people in the chat. Thank you for joining us. If you're just tuning in, we're talking with Josh. He's got an awesome bike touring, bike packing specific shop in Tucson, Arizona. If you have any questions, leave those in the comments. I'll be sure to highlight them, but also let us know where you're watching from. I see we've got Akron, Ohio, North New Jersey, Kent, Ohio, Hong Kong, Denmark. I thought there were a couple Tucsonians in
Yeah, I
in the
think I saw
chat.
a couple up there.
Yeah. So I remember when we were communicating about the rebrand, you know, we really wanted to make it kind of community focused. You had that great kickoff with Lael. How how have plans changed given the after times?
Yeah. Well, our plans were because we're not in a great retail style location, the plans were to get people here through events. And so that really has not happened. I mean, we had a few at the start that were really great, but so we actually, our lease is up in a couple months, and we have some flexibility in getting out of the lease. So we're looking into getting into a better location for typical retail traffic. So on the verge of a couple places that look pretty promising. But long term, I mean, so that's sort of just a fix for however long events can't go for, which who knows how long that will be. But most of the places we're looking at are actually probably just better locations for us for our business model, one way or another. But it is still in our plans to kick that off again at whatever point we can. And it was really a lot of fun, and it was sort of, we would really built our marketing plans around that. So that's where our future is. And we probably can't count on the COVID e-commerce shopping thing forever either. So
right.
So
so as a business owner in a landscape that's constantly changing, how do you keep your sanity?
Oh man, it's yeah, it's tough. I've sort of just had a lot of hectic experiences through the years, and this has been a rough one, but I've been through a bunch of them. It's actually not that it's actually strange when things are going smoothly for me. So I've just sort of gotten used to it over the years. And I kind of go through cycles where I won't probably do as good of a job at keeping the business running as well, and I'll just sort of just make it work, and then I'll kind of get re-inspired again, and just kind of come in and out of those cycles, and I don't know, just keep flowing with it. I mean, I'm sure you've experienced the highs and lows of bicycle entrepreneurship.
Yes. It's not a good place to make millions. I'll tell you that, people.
Right. Yep. So yeah, I don't know. I last summer we just realized we needed to go car camping every other weekend. We just, it took us a while to figure that out, but I don't know why it took us so long. It was pretty obvious once we did it, but we just, packed up the kids, and every other weekend, I think we did 15 or 16 nights of camping, which is quite a few for having a 6 and a 9-year-old along. So yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know.
Cool. So we've got Tulsa, Palm Springs, Party Pacing in Hartford, Connecticut, Des Moines, Iowa. Yes, or Karina42. If you're enjoying this video so far, give the like button a smash, as they say. Juneau, Alaska, Sheridan, Wyoming, but grew up in Tucson. Cool. So if you guys have any questions for Josh, or if you're not familiar with Campfire Cycling, you should definitely check them out online. They're a shop that specializes in bike touring and bike packing. So here's a good question. Josh, how supple is too supple for tires on Tucson gravel? Do you go super supple in Tucson, or are you a little bit more puncture phobic?
Yeah, when it comes to tires, we are all about puncture resistance, durable tires here. We do sell supple tires on our website, but we don't recommend them to people in Tucson. So
bring some sealant.
Yes, yeah. It's pokey out there. So
yeah. So Jeff Mead asks, you guys have an Instagram. What's the gram name? Is it just at Campfire Cycling?
Yep, at Campfire Cycling. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. We've got Patrick, Patreon supporter. Howdy, Patrick.
Hey Patrick.
Nice. Looking forward to the next shop ride camp trip whenever that's feasible. So let's
Yes.
talk about that a little bit. It sounded like you guys led some rides. Where would you go as a shop?
Yeah, so we only pulled off two. One of them was actually the weekend before the shutdown, so it felt a little bit. It was that time when you're like, "Are we supposed to be doing this?"
Right.
And everyone on the ride was sort of like, What do, how do we act?" Like, "Oh wait, we shouldn't touch each other's phones and stand too
Right.
close." No one really understood how to act in COVID at the time,
Right.
and so that trip was a loop near Aravaca. Was I think we did about 50 miles each day, just an overnighter. And the other trip that we did was Catalina State Park, just a beginner overnighter. I think it was just about 20 miles each way. So it was beginner, but it was a very cold night, so we had a kind of more expert element to that, or cold for Tucson, I should say. It hit 20 degrees that night. So
That's cold. That's
yeah,
legit cold.
yeah. So
Living in
um,
Montana, I'd pack a extra layer or two.
yeah, yeah. And we were planning on doing to do the Sky Island Odyssey, the East Loop, but weren't able to do that. So um,
Yeah.
you know.
So here's a question from fellow bike YouTuber, The Bike Sauce. How do you see events being phased back in? I know that there's a bunch of really popular events in Tucson. Do you have a sense if they're going to happen this year, and if so, like what they're doing special this year?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I see the kind of race thing. It seems like it's all over the place where that's going.
Is 24 hours happening this year or no?
Yeah, I think it got all the way like at first they had like a very limited version. I'm pretty sure they just canceled it outright for this year. It's
Yeah.
the last I heard. Yeah, it is canceled. So but yeah, it's a tough thing to try to figure out where it's going to go. I mean, I feel like rides are going to be something that feels safer to do before we do events in the store, just because you're outdoors. And I, I don't know. It feels like people are more and more comfortable with understanding how to be in the outdoors around each other. Um,
Right.
so I have some hope that the fall we'll feel comfortable with doing something.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound fun to me to sort of be monitoring and giving people a hard time who are like not doing it right. So I want it to be fun as well. So
Yeah.
um,
Let's see. So we got Chris here from San Diego. Purchased a few bags from Campfire Cycling for his son and him to get into bike packing last year and this year too. Cool. So I know one of the things that other shops have reported has been a big uptick in service. Do you see that in your shop as well, or is it primarily the e-commerce side that's getting the boost?
yeah, we are seeing. I mean, since after we kind of came through the summer, we did see an increase in service, and our mechanic Greg, he's really good at sourcing oddball parts and just making things work. So he's sort of been building up our reputation for doing service and rebuilds and things like that. So yeah, there's definitely an interest in that going on for sure. Um, yep. Um,
Here's a good question from Prof Writer. How does the overnight aspect work as a shop? Do you kind of make sure that everyone has everything? How equipped do people have to be to do those trips?
Yeah, so when we did the beginner overnighter, we had a session earlier in the week where we just invited everyone out it was like truly their first overnight, or just anyone who wanted to come out, and we went over it with everyone. But everyone, we were pretty clear, everyone was expected to bring their own gear, um and so there were certainly people here right before we left buying things last minute, and it was, yeah, but it's, yeah. And the Catalina State Park is a pretty simple one, so you can, you know, it's all on a bike path, so you can, it's easy to strap stuff on your bike one way or another. So the more challenging bike packing trips, we kind of, I think I knew most people, or reached out to them just to make sure they sort of had some familiarity and were ready for the trip. So
Yeah. Going through the questions, and Corey asked, "How is it getting components these days? Have Have like aftermarket components dried up?
You just can't be too picky. So if you find a bike mechanic or someone who sort of knows how to dig through all the various suppliers, and you're going to give them some flexibility, we can usually make things work. So, but yeah.
I feel like it could be a moment for lesser known brands like a Microshift to take a maybe bigger hold of the market.
Yes.
So it's pretty exciting. Let's see. So Airstream X, Greg is a man, came in 3 weeks ago with a crack cassette, and he took care of him immediately. Cool. So question here, Nick McKenzie, Nick in Monterey County, California. Do you have a custom frame pack creator you recommend or represent? So outside of, let's say, Revelate, where it's kind of not built to order, are there any small makers in the Tucson area or other smaller makers that you guys like?
Yeah, we haven't worked too closely with the small makers, but our here in Arizona, Rogue Panda is up in Flagstaff, where I'm from Flagstaff, and I started our old business bike shop hub there. So definitely recommend those guys. Actually, I'm going to mention my mechanic Greg, who I've talked about. He's actually going to be leaving the business in the end of April. So another one of these entrepreneurial challenges for me. And he's basically his wife had a great opportunity in Minneapolis that they couldn't pass by. So he's off, but he's actually a custom bag maker, and his plans are to get his company. He sort of has done it on the side, but that's gonna be his main focus, and it's called Yellow Cat Industries. Cool. So yeah, look him up. He does a lot of really nice custom bags, and we'll be continuing to work with him in that capacity, as well as he'll be doing a few bags for us, some wholesale stuff for us. So yeah, those are my recommendations there.
Yeah. So here's a question from Andy A. Do you anticipate more shops like yours popping up? And by like yours, I'm assuming bike touring, bike packing specific. Do you have a sense of other retail businesses similar opening?
Yeah, I know there are a few here and there. Topanga Creek. Topanga Creek Outpost. I think Ponderosa Cyclery is fairly bikepacking focused. There's the Bicycle Touring News. I think. So yeah, I'm seeing them. I don't really know how well everyone's doing, or if it's like going to be a continuing trend. For us, a lot of it has to do with also being on the e-commerce side. So that the business model is designed for the two things to support each other. And it also works really well for us being here in Tucson, so we can focus on the bike shop in the winter and the e-commerce all across the country in the summer. So I don't know. Yeah, there's certain factors making our model work for us. I'm not sure how common it will be. So
yeah, it seems like because you have a lot of e-commerce background, that's been definitely an asset in these times. Whereas like some bike shops have been primarily in store with very little e-commerce, and are kind of scrambling to make that work.
Yeah, I think though they have had just such a surge in demand, I think that's been helped quite a few shops through this time. So
yeah. So Jeff asks here, is it difficult mixing camping / outdoor suppliers and bike part distributions?
Yeah, so we haven't really gotten that deep into the camping side of things. We have the deepest we've gone is with Big Agnes, and just the tents. We have like the full selection of Big Agnes bike packing tents, and so we just haven't really kind of explored it in that much depth, and our customers aren't really asking it of us that much. They're more asking for us to focus on their bikes, to focus on the bags, and make that side work. So I think we'll grow into it slowly, and I don't have a great feeling of what it's going to be like working at full capacity as a camping supplier quite yet. So But I think they're pretty similar the way they operate, the bike side and the camping and outdoor side.
Yeah.
So
It's just more SKUs to juggle.
right, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. So we've got 210 people in the chat. If you guys are digging the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions for Josh, be sure to ask it. So Ben Anderson asks, with all the beginners coming into cycling, what do you find is the best way to connect with them and be inclusive? Do you find that you're getting lots of new people to cycling coming in through the store or communicating somehow through the website?
I don't feel like we're drawing in that many new cyclists. I think that we're more we do have some new cyclists that are not really coming to us because we're just a bike shop that's close by. They're not recognizing us for our bike packing focus. So I mean, we're more focused on beginner bike packers who are generally already cyclists. So,
right.
But as far as the best way to be, we've just worked a lot on trying to come up with being as welcoming as we can. That's sort of built into our mission and our values is just presenting a very welcoming attitude to everyone. And so that's just one of our key focuses is whether it's through the website or in the shop, just try to welcome everyone as best we can. So
yeah. So Jay Guzov asks, what is your favorite go-to bike packing snack?
Okay. Oh.
Anything.
Cashews. I don't know. Or raisins and I don't know. Raisins, cashews, almonds. I don't know. What's yours, Russ?
I usually have like a savory snack and a sugary snack.
Okay.
So for savory, it's either some kind of mixed nuts or jerky. And for the sweeter snack, some kind of bar, like a Laura bar or a Snickers.
Oh yeah.
'Cause I feel like eating too much of one thing gets weird in my mouth. So I like to mix it up.
Oh yeah. That reminds me of the Trader Joe's dried mangoes. Those are good.
Oh yeah. That is one thing we missed about Tucson is you guys have Trader Joe's. Montana has like 0 Trader Joe's. Like the closest one is in Spokane.
Got to do the occasional run. Or
Yeah.
is it how far is it to Spokane? Is it too far?
It's like a good 3-4 hours. Okay. So it's a trek. Like usually if we do a Trader Joe's run, we'd overnight there and drive back next day, but it's kind of not a thing right now. So yeah. Let's see. So 214 people. If you guys are digging the interview so far, give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions for Josh, let me know. So other favorite snacks in here. Peanut M&Ms. Yes, that's actually a good mix of savory and salty. So good call. So I'm bringing in custom frame. Tom Blake asks, why don't I see more drop bars on this early Bridge Club? So Bridge Club is they only come in flat bars, right?
That's right. Yep.
So
I'm pretty sure
it's just how they come.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's early.
Yep. It is what it is.
Yeah. So here's a Patrick peanut butter and pickle sandwich. That is pretty good. I tried that recently. It's a surprisingly good combination. So Nick asked, do you have documentation on places to bike pack near you? And by near you, that's Tucson.
I mean, the great thing is there's a bunch of documented routes all around us. Most of them you can find on bikepacking.com. That's pretty much our go-to. We actually on our TV screen, we often have like a bunch of the maps up on the screen, just cool. The ride with GPS for. We'll usually have Sky Island Odyssey, the AZT, the Western. I keep forgetting the new name of the Western route. I don't know what it's called,
Yeah.
something like the Western route. Just there's just so many great routes around here. So yeah,
Yeah.
should post a summary of them.
Yeah. So with the kind of still like uncertainty of the year unfolding, where do you think you'll hedge your bets? More on the e-commerce, or start to think about the in-store experience?
Yeah. The big thing is for us to sign a lease at a new space and figure out what that feels like, and probably get in the door and just have a
Right.
sense of it. And it'll also be a pretty intensive couple months getting moved over and settled in. And I think once I get through that, I also have to, we are hiring, in case anyone's looking. We're going to be hiring someone to replace Greg when he leaves at the end of April. So a lot of things to focus on. I think I'm just going to try to keep my head above water and see where things land. But if we do end up, I do have some ideas to focus on the e-commerce if it continues as strong as it was last year. We're working extra hard to get orders in early with our key suppliers, and fortunately, they have bags and racks. Our suppliers there, like Ortlieb and Rebel 8, have been able to keep the products flowing pretty well. There has been some hiccups, but not like with bicycles. So that's been good for us. So yeah, we're working on just keeping the supplies flowing. And if the event thing really delays, we have some ideas to try to figure out content that's online content. It's always been a battle for us to figure out how to run a small e-commerce shop and be a content creator like you or us. It's a lot to figure out, but I've got a few ideas on the back of my mind, and so yeah, we may do that if it continues as it is. But hope is we'll be back to running events in the fall. So
yeah. So you've got Greg as your mechanic, who's going to be leaving soon. And do you oversee the e-commerce, or do you have someone else do that?
Yeah, actually, Greg has sort of been a jack of all trades in terms of he does all of our shipping and receiving, and he's an amazing mechanic. So I hired someone who had multiple skills and sort of steered the business toward what he was really good at, and it worked out well. But the new plan is I'm probably not going to be as lucky and find someone that has that ability, both those, or interests, or wanting to do both those things. So I'll probably be hiring both a mechanic and a shipper this time around. So
yeah. Let's see. So Andy asks, not sure if this has been addressed, but how has the shortage affected you? What bike brands are trying to hook you up and supply you with bikes? Is this an opportunity for smaller brands that aren't the big brands to get in retail space, or is everyone just like strapped for bikes?
Yeah, I mean there are definitely, like, if there are, I don't actually smaller brands have bikes either. I think everyone is selling through. If there are any, yeah, we're definitely interested.
Yeah.
We've with our Surly and Salsa, they've been able to sort of state these are your bikes, and we sell them in advance of getting them. It's been a not an amazing flow, but it seems to be actually about the right pace for the number that we're selling overall. With some of our other brands, Bomb Track, they're switching distributors, so we're sort of in the middle. So we're not sure when that's going to get settled in and when we're going to get more of those, or what the new distributor is going to have to, or how many bikes they're bringing in. So that's a little uncertain. And like a brand like Jameis, we haven't been able to get bikes, and I think I consider them a little bit smaller of a brand, but still decent size, a big selection of bikes, and I think they've really benefited. I mean, they were, I don't know if they were, I don't think they were struggling, but I think they can barely keep up at this point. Though I think they're also having trouble getting all the bikes that they want to get. So
Right. I mean, it sounds like they're all stuck waiting for containers
Right.
to come over.
Yes. Yeah, it's a strange time, and it's funny. I mean, I'm I'm wondering how many bike shops are suffering just because they can't get the bikes to sell them.
Mhm.
I mean, if we were more reliant on the bike sales, we'd probably be in that position where we want more bikes, we just can't get them. So it's
Yeah.
a tricky time for some shops.
Yeah.
So
And I know that when things started getting serious, I made a video on consumables that you should stock up on because of supply chain issues. Way ahead of everybody.
right.
In your shop, like what has been like the things that that disappeared quickly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
tires and tubes. We've had periods of time where just all of a certain size tube just disappears. And so like uh 29 29er tires are just, yeah, really hard to get these days, and we have a
Yeah.
kind of sporadic supply of them. So
Yeah.
yeah, we were talking about the bicycles in the sense of, I mean, I heard this story about how toilet paper is this weird supply chain thing where it's like they've got to have everything timed just right, and if anything goes wrong, it just throws the whole thing off. And I was wondering how much the bike industry is like that as well. So
Yeah. Um, let's see. Here's a question from Jeff Mead. Was there a brand that surprised you with support during this pandemic? Anyone who stands out as a shining star for your shop? Were there any brands that were, better to work with in times of crises?
I mean, everyone's been doing the best they can. So I don't want to say. I mean, I would only kind of say like who was having the least problems. Ortlieb seemed to have the least problems, and
Yeah.
so I'm not sure if, like, yeah, I don't want to throw anyone else under the bus because they're having hard times getting supplies. But yeah, Ortlieb
Yeah.
seemed to keep things flowing really well throughout. So
Yeah. Yeah, they're in the at least from the last time I spoke to someone over there. They own their manufacturing, so
right.
they've got some good control over a lot of the supply chain stuff.
Yeah, and I think, Germany has done a pretty good job of keeping their COVID under control most of the time. So
Yeah, yeah. So Large Marge here says, I think I saw an earlier comment. He's got a shop in Akron, Ohio. Tubes were down for sure, and patching tubes for a couple of weeks.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a good skill to have. I remember we did a live stream with Beth, who runs Frontier Bikes, and she said very specifically 26-inch tubes. Like
oh
that
yeah,
was first thing to go, like the hardest thing to get back in stock.
yep,
Um,
yeah. We also saw we had just a deep catalog of just a lot of random products that we kind of collected on the shelves over the years, and just so much of that sold out. It was really
Really?
good. Yeah.
What was a weird thing that you had for years that all of a sudden like disappeared?
I mean, it was just
Like quill
everyday.
stems or something?
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, it was just more in the back. Like we just had a collection of weird bike bags. We
Okay.
had some brand like Rack Time bags had never really taken off, and
Yeah.
Vade backpacks. We had bought a whole bunch of them at one point, thinking it was going to be a big thing, and just never sold. But have sold
Yeah.
through most of those. So just a little.
Yeah. So it
Right.
sounds like it's been a good time for a shop to clear out some back inventory.
Yes, definitely.
You know? So so Nick here, he's on your website now. Do you sell the Surly Moloko bars? Yeah, the bag is or the bars an issue?
I don't know if we haven't sold that many of the bars. We haven't been trying to keep that in stock, so I don't know off the top of my head if that's available. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let's see. So here's another question. It seems like you can get the full MSRP for bikes these days. Do you think that bike prices will drop once supply chain is back to normal?
Yeah, I mean, it could. I mean, the old pattern was stock up on bikes, and at the end of the season, close out whatever didn't sell. So that could happen all of a sudden. I think I don't know. It's it's probable that things will adjust, but it's hard to say how quickly they will. If it happens in a very rapid change, a bunch of bike shops could end up with a whole bunch of bikes on closeout. So I don't know. I mean, we're still hearing most of the brands say, talking about, well, you're not going to see this bike until 2022, and it seems very pushed out at this point. So it's really hard to predict. So
yeah. I know as a bike YouTuber, I have a hard time finding review bikes for this year.
Right.
I wasn't too aggressive because I felt like, a bike would be better off with a new owner than some random person on the internet. But, I do have to make content.
Right.
So I asked like pretty much right away once COVID started, I sent out those initial emails because I had the feeling that things were going to go sideways and was able to secure half a dozen bikes for this year.
Yeah, it's tough. Like I'd like to get a new bike for myself, but I'm like, I feel like it's not the right time to. The people are wanting to pay full price, so it seems like a strange time. And it'll be a bike that I will get one of that bike for the whole year. So
right,
hold off.
So Jeff here says he works as a mechanic at a shop, and he had a case of loose BB cartridge bearings covered in dust, and now they're all gone.
Yep. All the dusty products are getting cleaned off and shipped out.
Yeah, cool. So we still have about 200 people in the chat. If you guys have questions for Josh, let us know in the comments. Let's see. Did we do the full shop tour? I forget. I know that you spun the camera around a little bit.
I can. I didn't quite show. So I'll just do the kind of tour of. Point out all the parts. So here's our front entrance here. You can see we've got Ortlieb over on this side. We've got some carrot ice bags, tubus racks, surly racks. Over here, up in the front corner, we have some camping supplies, Big Agnes, Sawyer water filters, some Vargo stuff up there. This is our most popular display, Revelate Designs. We're always selling off of that display. Some Oveja Negra, also a popular display. And then I'll swing around. These bikes we try to keep set up with bags, but it's been hard. Everyone's been buying the bags off the bikes lately. So,
so is that? Let me ask. Is that a thing? Like, do products sell better when they're staged as opposed to just on a regular rack? Like, is there something about placing a bag on the bike in a quasi environment that makes them more sellable?
I actually haven't found that. We find just like a nice kind of easy to grab product seems to do best. But gotcha. When it's the last one, it'll sell off the bike. So. And we've got Greg's been doing quite a few dynamo hub builds, so he's got some dynamo hubs and various lights for dynamos over there in the corner. See if I can bring that in a little closer, if you can see that. So
are those 26-inch tire tubes?
Yep. Yes, 26-inch. We do have 26-inch tubes. And this is a kind of our repair area here in the back. Tire display here.
And that's an e-commerce part, like all the blue shelving back there.
Yep. Yeah, the blue shelving, and back beyond that brown wall there's quite a bit of shelving behind that. So it goes pretty far back. There's actually 1,500 square feet back there.
Dang.
And then we have, this is our garage sale. So we just got this set up. And just sort of random things that we've had in the back. We used to sell a lot of bike child trailers, so we've still got a few of those around. And anyone need a Yep child seat? We have a big selection of those. So so that's the shop tour. Yeah.
Cool. So I know prior to the rebrand, you kind of focused on a couple, kid stuff, trailers, and commuting. Has the rebrand focusing to bike packing, has it been successful? Like honing in on that niche?
I mean, overall, it feels like the right move. I mean, it's just been such strange times that it's hard to understand what's working and why. But I'm still I'm still feeling like it just feels good. It feels good to be focused rather than me trying to be the expert at multiple niches.
Right.
So yeah, I'm glad. And we really didn't have a good marketing effort and a good branding effort before. It's a lot easier to do those things when you're not spread thin across multiple areas. So
Yeah. So someone asks, are the garage sale items on the website?
those are for in-store purchasing only. A
Okay.
lot of it's used stuff. We've tried selling used stuff online, and there's just no one's ever happy with it. We just constantly dealing with people that thought it was going to be in better condition, or yeah. So we only do that in store now. So
Yeah. So Jason here asks, e-bikes seem to be big this year. Any e-bikes that fit the bike packing experience? Have you know, are there lots of people bike packing on e-bikes?
I haven't heard of people bike packing. Well, when we talk bike packing, I'm thinking um, rougher trails. I'm sure some people are doing gravel road stuff. I haven't heard too much about it. I'm keeping my eye on it, but I'm just not seeing that much in the U.S. I feel like it's gonna if it's gonna emerge in the bicycle touring world, it's gonna sort of start with people having specific routes where there's good places to recharge along the way. Um,
Yeah.
there's probably something that must be going on in Europe where there's bicycle touring routes for e-bikes. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of waiting to see if that emerges at some point. But we don't hear too many people talking about e-bikes and related
Yeah, I feel
relation
like
to touring.
the distances you'd have to cover in the terrain being so remote, you don't have the
Yes.
opportunity to top off the batteries unless it's like a route designed specifically around that experience.
Yep.
So, um, yeah. So I think we're coming up to an hour, and I will wrap us up here. Josh, do you have anything else to say? We still have like 215 people in here.
Oh,
So
no, I mean, I just appreciate the opportunity to talk. It's last year that video you did with us, like we just kept hearing people talk about it. So it's
awesome.
it's yeah, we really appreciate it. So and yeah, I don't know. We I guess yeah. Anyone who'd like to come by the shop, yeah, we're open and we'll be putting up an announcement about our new location as soon as we get that figured out. Hopefully in the next few weeks here. And
Yeah.
yeah, if anyone out there's looking for any bike mechanics or people interested in shipping bike packing gear, we're looking for we're hiring again. So yeah.
And you can move to sunny Tucson with like amazing tacos.
Yes. and great bike packing all winter. So
Yeah, there you go.
I don't recommend it in the summer, but we do have mountains around. So just get in your car and drive up to the mountains all summer. So
yeah. I know we have some Patreon supporters in the chat, but there are probably many that aren't Patreon supporters. If you are, you actually get a bit of a discount code on the Campfire Cycling website, and I want to thank you, Josh, for offering that to the people that support the channel. Why I asked you these 4 questions on a recent Patreon community post, but what are your reasons for supporting our Patreon community while we have you on here?
Okay, yeah. I wrote it down so in case I forgot what I wrote. That's one of those replies I spent too much time. I can't just do it ad lib. But I guess yeah, just reading back what I wrote. I really like the way you kind of approach cycling with creativity, and I think you're a great. You offer a great entryway into just all the different ways all the different perspectives we can have on cycling, and I really think it's great to be a part of that and to support that. So appreciate the work that you do.
Now, I'll ask you one more question from that list. What does Party Pacer, the supple life mean to you?
Yeah, supple life is what I actually think of that term all the time. Like it's kind of like become like a mantra or something for me where I'm just, and I mean, I don't think about it with the tires that much. I mean, I think of it more just like casual enjoying life on a bike. And I mean, I like to go fast sometimes, but I don't like to always go fast. I like to go at whatever speed I like, and just yeah, the bicycling lifestyle is what I get out of supple life. So yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, on that note, thank you again, Josh, for being on the show and also offering that great discount to our Patreon supporters. And if you guys enjoyed this live stream, there's still 210 of you in there. It's not too late to hit that like button. Really helps out the channel. We're so close to 100,000 subscribers, and we're going to turn on the Party Pace neon light in the back in the garage. Might be doing it as a live stream. We'll see. It depends on how cold it is in the garage. But if you guys have been digging this content, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, you know what to do. And as always, keep the supple side